touchdown. Oh my, Queen Stevens. With
A little bit more room. Hey, thumb on the football, and a big man scrambling.
Action pass to him. He fires to the top. One-handed catch.
Buchanan Simons is open. Breaks the tackle. This is going to be a 70-yard touchdown. Buchanan Simons. Over the top, and that might be the most impressive interception all day. What a shoot!
Breaking through a tackle.
Oh no!
What a ridiculous sequence of events.
He's got Heath McDaniel Jr. inside the 10 to the 5. Touchdown, Carolina.
The kick is blocked from Zuderveld. It's loose.
How? What?
And welcome to Sim Football Pregame, along with Mike St. Green. I'm Cameron Irvine, and we are happy to be here as Week 10 kicks off in the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music. How are you, Mike?
Hey, doing great, Cam. It's great to be back for another SFL Saturday. I can't wait to get Week 10 action started.
Neither can we. We've got high drama in the next 4 hours. We'll have 4 different games that we are watching across the SFL landscape. We start in Fort Worth, where the Mexico City Aztecs have a chance to clinch the Southern Division, which Fort Worth won last season, and clinch a playoff spot. We've got Baltimore, Carolina coming up in 20 minutes. That's a big rivalry as the Vultures try to remain the league's only unbeaten team. London, Florida, Louisiana, LA later. But Mike, it's all about Mexico City and Fort Worth in the Southern Division next.
Yeah, Cam, as you mentioned, Florida, Baltimore, as well as Mexico City, all three teams have an opportunity today to clinch their division championships and a playoff berth. But Baltimore has already clinched, but they haven't clinched a division title. But yeah, Mexico City, Fort Worth should be a great matchup today. Look for this Mexico City defense that's really been playing well as of late. To really step forward today and give Cam Curtis all types of problems. He's one of the lowest QBR rated quarterbacks in the league. He only has 7 touchdown passes on the season and completing a little under 64% of his passes. So this Mexico defense is going to look, led by Dan Tritz, are going to be looking to feast on Cam Curtis today. And also in the Baltimore matchup with the Skyhawks, Baltimore have won 9 in a row this season to start the season, and 10 in a row dating back to last season as far as the regular season goes. Should be a great matchup in both games today.
Tyler Falk and Josh Zirkle have the call from Texas when we come back after this. You are watching the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports, and we will be right back.
Next Level Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the Simulation Football League.
This is the Simulation Football League, presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports, live above I-35W in Fort Worth, Texas. The hometown Toros desperately need a win this week to keep their playoff hopes alive. They welcome their division rivals from south of the border as the Mexico City Aztecs look to become the first team this season to clinch a division title. It's a Tex-Mex throwdown here in Week 10 of the SFL. Hello everyone, I'm Tyler Falk. Great to have you here in the Stockyards in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm joined here in the booth with Josh Circle. And Josh, it's a crucial matchup for both sides with playoff aspirations on the line.
Yeah, it really is, Tyler. It's going to be a fun matchup for us in the booth as well. It's a great matchup here in what you call the Tex-Mex division, the Southern Division. Mexico City has been the top of this division here in season 17 at 7-2. Fort Worth, on the other hand, had high hopes, and for one reason or another, they have not materialized thus far. And right now, they're sitting on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. This is absolutely a de facto playoff game for them. The Toros are going to have to run the table, really, to be among the top 12 teams that reach the SFL postseason. They've got a great rushing offense. Jason Williams, a seventh-year halfback, hit the 1,000-yard club last week. But the big question is whether this Toros defense can slow down Matt Wilson on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to have to play close to perfect on offense and defense if they want to hold serve here at the Stockyards this afternoon.
Absolutely, and it looks like that the Aztecs will kick it away to last season's divisional champs in that South Division as they look to become the champs this season. Cole Varner will get us set to go here. As here we go in Week 10 of Season 17 of the SFL. Turn will get started by Cade Stevens. He tries to bring it up toward midfield and will get stopped up right at the 25-yard line. And on comes the Fort Worth Toros offense for the first time today, led by their signal caller, Cameron Curtis.
Yeah, and this offense, for one reason or another, has not been able to get out of first gear. I don't think it's necessarily Cam Curtis, but there are just too many times in the game when they're not finding their star receivers down the field.
They'll start off in the eye with two wide receivers to the left. Quick drop here from Curtis, and he immediately finds his target right away for a big scamper. That's Robert Garrett Jr. down the sideline for a big pickup of about 17.
Yeah, one of the things I love about this Toros offense is the double tight end attack. Robert Garrett Jr., but also Lauren Percoco, a second-year tight end. These two could be particularly lethal, especially on third and short, and especially in the red zone.
Robert Garrett Jr., one of the leading reception getters here in the Fort Worth Toros offense. Curtis loves to find his tight ends, and immediately from the first play from scrimmage, finds Garrett Jr. immediately. Another quick chop here from Curtis is going to swing it out to the fullback, the rookie Aaron Alexander. He barely gets back to the line of scrimmage before being taken down by Ronnie Watson, as we'll introduce you to the rest of the Toros offense. We've mentioned Cameron Curtis. He's the quarterback with Jason Williams at tailback. Aaron Alexander is the rookie out of Lexington at fullback with Cade Stevens and Steven Hacker at the wideout spots. And we've already mentioned Robert Garrett Jr. at tight end alongside the Dr. Lauren Percoco. Handoff here on second down for Williams. He's going to get stopped up, tripped up after maybe a gain of 2. And again in on the tackle is Ronnie Watson.
And that is what you'll see from Jason Williams. 2 yards, 3 yards, 1 yard, and then he'll bust a 30 or 40-yarder. And I'd like to see him be a little bit more consistent in this game. Fort Worth is going to have to stay on the field and sustain a few drives. They expect to compete for 4 quarters against Mexico City.
Fort Worth is the worst team on third downs here in the SFL this season. They'll convert this time around, and it's a big completion on the opposite side of the midfield stripe. That one caught by the Dr. Lauren Percoco.
And Percoco, again, making a big catch, showing you how devastating this 2 tight end set could be, and that is where she will do a lot of her damage. And 5 to 7 yards down the line of scrimmage, making big catches in traffic.
This is going to go under center again. Handoff. Williams up the middle. Has a little bit of a lane. Is stopped up after a gain of 5 and tackled there by Dexter Jackson and company as we introduce you to the Aztecs defense. Dan Tritz, Brock Lee, and Skylar Kingsley man the defensive line with Ronnie Watson, Dexter Jackson, and Katie Hurl at the linebacking spots. Gerard Brody, Jermaine Menafield, and Xavier Hawkins are the corners, with Ben Sharbs and Jeffrey Daggs at the safety spots.
It's been a very strong secondary, Tyler, with 3 rookies in the secondary.
Absolutely. Offset eye here on second down. Josh is going to be a handoff for Williams, and Williams goes nowhere, and it's that linebacking core that makes another good play, Josh. That's Katie Horrell with the tackle. She faces off against a family member over on the opposite side of the football, that being David Horrell.
And how are they related exactly?
Trying to remember if they're brother, sister, or maybe I can't remember exactly. I'm not
brother and sister, husband and wife. That's one you want to get right for sure.
Absolutely. Curtis under pressure, and he's taken down behind the line by the defensive end rookie of the year from a year ago, Dan Tritz.
Yeah, Dan Tritz, his 7 sacks, lead the team, 12 TFLs as well. And this is a guy did a nice job getting in the backfield. And when you can get the bull rush and you get under the offensive lineman's pads like that, you're going to have some pretty smooth sailing on the way to your quarterback.
Sophomore defensive tackle gets around the rookie guard, Johnny Van Man, and gets to Curtis for a sack, which will stall the opening drive here for the Toros. And Ray Einhorn is on to take the punt. And it looks like they'll let this drop. It takes a Fort Worth bounce and then a Mexico City bounce into the end zone down for a touchback. And on comes the Aztecs offense, led by the Hall of Famer, Matt Wilson.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about that drive for Fort Worth. They managed to move the ball down the field, play some field position. The punt did not work out for them, but this is where Fort Worth has to butter their bread. They've got to find a way to slow down, if not stop, Matt Wilson.
Matt Wilson, with his 12th season in the league, likes to keep a clean jersey. And he's back to pass here on first down. Nice little out route to the far side. That's Jason Bartley, and he's knocked down after a gain of 9. And, well, he only washes his uniform, Matt Wilson, every once in a while, doesn't he there, Josh?
Yeah, it's really ridiculous how well protected Wilson is behind this Mexico City offensive line. We ran the numbers on it earlier in the week. The average quarterback in the SFL will throw about 30 pass attempts before taking a sack. Matt Wilson, 57 attempts on average before taking a sack. That's less than 1 sack a game, and this guy just throws it back there with reckless abandon, and that's why they can't get to him.
They try to go power football with a run up the gut from Phoenix Jones on second down, and they'll give him the first. Good, tough running there from the 4th season tailback.
Yeah, and if playing Matt Wilson wasn't bad enough, now you got to play Phoenix Jones. He was already hit 1,200 yards on the season. Also 48 catches, hit the century mark last week as well.
It's another call, this time to the near side. Tries to get around a couple defenders, but is taken down by Marquise Reed. And up comes second down as we'll introduce you to the rest of the Aztec offense. Matt Wilson is the quarterback with Phoenix Jones, the tailback. Hall of Famer Ray Bentley is at fullback here this season with Jason Bartley, Jacob McCall, and Fox Highwood at tight end. Bill Henry and Mike Daggs round out the lineup at tight end. Passing play here for the Aztecs. Wilson steps into and fires over the middle. That one is caught. Good enough for a first down. Complete to Jacob McCall.
And a little fancifulness by McCall there on the one-handed catch. Had to reach out and get it. And Matt Wilson doing what Matt Wilson does. Starting and sustaining a big drive here for Mexico City, approaching Fort Worth territory.
Talk a little bit more about his move from Arizona in this past offseason to here, where he was trying to get more targets. So far, that hasn't been the case as Wilson looks near side into double coverage, and it's a great defensive play from E.K. Vincent and just get his hand up there and knock it away.
And Vincent, just a terrific all-around defender at that outside linebacker spot. 90 tackles for loss all time, 50 passes deflected all time. Has 90 tackles on the season, closing in on the century mark, and that stat could hit it this afternoon.
He had one last week, and with 14 to go on the season, at the time of the start of this football game, he was 9th in terms of tackles for loss amongst all SFL players this season. Wilson fires over the middle. That's complete to Fox Highwind near a first down, and they'll give it to him as a nice pitch and catch from Wilson to Highwind.
And we talked about how Wilson keeps that jersey clean, and that's part of the reason why. He just takes a quick step back and that ball is out of his hands. Does not linger, does not look down the field too often. Just a great, great job of getting rid of the football.
Goal line set here for the offense as Fort Worth stacks the box. 10 men in the box. Handoff. Phoenix Jones has one man to beat, but it's a nice, sure tackle up the gut by the safety to save that touchdown saving run.
And that's the perils of stacking the box like that, Tyler. If the running back gets through the box, there's nobody else left. And that's a huge tackle right there. I think that was Marquise Reed, who did a nice job probably saving a touchdown there.
Again, stack the box. This time only 8 in the box with 3 for cover as the Aztecs go to a split back formation. Wilson looking near side. It's a nice easy pitch and catch again to Highwind, and it's another first down for the Aztecs.
And if you're going to blitz like Fort Worth did there, you got to play tighter coverage on the corner. Highwind still had about a 7 or 8 yard cushion, and it was not that long a route, and it was enough for Highwind to get the first down.
For 2 third downs on, that was the first third down of the drive, I believe, and that's the first down conversion on third down for the Aztecs. They go into an offset eye this time around as a defensive lineman jumps off sides. Free play. They'll get to Wilson in the backfield. He might have to wash his jersey, but that sack is going to come off the board as they'll get the defensive end on the offsides call.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, too. You finally get to Matt Wilson. You get some pressure there, get him down to the ground, but you jumped off sides. Gary Marks, the offending party that time.
Gary Marks comes up with the infringement, so it'll be 1st and 5 and a little bit closer into field goal range, and not something Fort Worth would like to have happen all too often today, as Cole Varner has been lights out this season, hitting 20 of 20, and giving him any more of an advantage than he has had all season is not what you want to do. Power eye set here on this first down as Jones heads to the outside. He's tackled in the backfield for a loss.
Interesting setup there, Tyler, when they went with a heavy formation in the backfield. At 1st and 5 at this point on the field, I would have liked to see him take a shot at the end zone. That way you don't have to deal with the congestion that you see in a lot of defenses in the red zone. Instead, they decided to run it, and Phoenix Jones gets tackled in the backfield.
Second down from the 30-yard line. Far formation for the Aztecs. They'll run with Jones up the middle. He powers through one man, and he'll get a favorable spot. They're going to say he got enough for the first down.
Yeah, if you're Fort Worth, you just can't let it get this close. And that is a great hole there that Phoenix Jones has a chance to run through. All he has to do is put his shoulder down, and if he can get through that first tackle, which he does, that's going to be a first down.
Cornerback Aiden Davis couldn't bring him down initially, and that's what sets up a new set of downs here for the Aztecs. This one will start from the 22-yard line for the Aztecs. Inside Fort Worth territory. Wilson fires near side. That's Highwind again on his 3rd catch. Now has 23 yards on the day, and so far being one of the more consistent targets for Wilson so far this season.
A very consistent target and a very large cushion that Highwind is still working with on that left side of the field. Matt Wilson would probably throw to him all day if that cushion's going to stay there over the course of the game.
Highwind leads the team in targets, receptions, and yards here in Season 17. Corner shift to the outside. Only 6 in the box to counter a potentially dangerous Phoenix Jones. Wilson, under pressure, gets it away for Jones on the swing pass near side, who turns upfield and gets closer to the goal line. He's knocked out of bounds at the 11.
And that's the other problem of playing that big cushion in the secondary. Not only are you giving up space to your wide receivers, but if you can get the ball to Phoenix Jones out in space like they did here, Matt Wilson doing a nice job of getting rid of that ball before he gets hit, then Jones has a chance to run upfield as well and get good yardage before he's tackled, and that happened there.
Mexico City is taking a whole bunch of time off the clock as we're now under 3 minutes to go here in the first quarter. This will be the 14th play of the drive. They hand off up the middle this time to Phoenix Jones again, and Jones is able to maybe muster up 2 yards before being taken down. And let's introduce you to the Toros defense. Jeff Duffy, Joey Schwitt, and Gary Marks, the defensive linemen, with J.L. Browning, E.K. Vincent, and David Horrell at the linebacking spots, with Adam Leach and Aiden Davis at corner. Blake Prine, Marquise Reed, and Delaney Nash are the safeties. as Wilson goes into an empty look in the backfield, looking far side toward the end zone, and he has the reception and the first down, but not the touchdown, does Jason Bartley.
Yeah, that's a great route by Bartley, getting outside and giving Wilson a nice target to throw at. Had a chance to turn it in, but now you get 4 plays from the one if you're Mexico City. Not getting the touchdown, not the biggest problem in the world for the Aztecs.
Besides the one errant pass that E.K. Vincent knocked away, Matt Wilson 7 for 8 on the drive. And off Jones, and that was an excellent drive for the Aztecs as they walk in for the touchdown. But we do have some laundry on the field. Let's get the call from R62 as it's holding on the offense and take that touchdown off the board.
I was going to say that was a gigantic hole for Phoenix Jones, and now we know why. A little bit too gigantic. Kalamata, the offending party there. And Speen Kalamata is going to have to do a nicer job of keeping those arms inside the plane of his body, and that's a no-no.
Now the Aztecs are outside the 10-yard line here on first and goal. Pass near side, hauled in and turning upfield is Fox Highwind and into the end zone. Touchdown, Mexico City.
And once again, Highwind just working on that left side, has all kinds of space. Wilson all the time in the world, a perfect spiral to Highwind. And if you got him matched up against E.K. Vincent, that is a matchup Highwind is going to win every time. A pretty easy touchdown there for the Aztecs.
A 17-play drive, 77 yards, culminating with that 11-yard touchdown from Fox Highwind in a very impressive drive from these Aztecs as Cole Vonner is on now to attempt the extra point. Snap, spot kick is up, and it is good, and the Aztecs take an early 7-0 lead. If you're new to the SFL, the Simulation Football League combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations, as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website at www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy.
Does anybody still type in the www?
More than likely not in this day and age, but you never know. As the return gets going there from Cade Stevens, he's only able to muster back up to the 23-yard line, and on comes the Fort Worth Toros offense, which had a considerable gap in time of possession, and now are finally taking the field after starting off the football game with the ball.
Cade Stevens and Steven Hacker, a very competent wide receiver duo for Fort Worth. Neither one has a single target in this game. Cameron Curtis is going to have to fix that on this drive.
Quick drop from Curtis. Will swing it out to Williams on the far side, who puts a man in the dirt and turns upfield for a good chunk of yards.
Yeah, it was Gerard Brody, the cornerback, the rookie, that got trucked there by Jason Williams. Welcome to the NFL, the SFL, young man. Very nice second effort there by the halfback to get good yardage, make it a second and medium.
Just like that, under a minute to go here in a very fast-moving first quarter. 10 men in the box for Mexico City as they'll hand off to Williams near side. Has a big hole near the near sideline. Good containment there, and way to spring Jason Williams free. First down, Toros.
And we're talking about how Garrett Jr. and Percoco are great receivers, also pretty great blockers there. And when you can get a 7-man front like that, you really have opportunities for your run game to explode there. Jason Williams benefiting from that as well. First down, Fort Worth.
How can they keep the drive moving? Offset eye this time around on a new set of downs. They'll hand off to the same direction as Williams is able to shrug off one tackler, but can't get away from KT Horrell. And he's down after a gain of 2 as the clock will tick away here in the first quarter. It's been a very fast-moving ball game. Mexico City leads 7-0. You're watching the Simulation Football League, presented by 8 p.m. Music on Next Level Sports. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Stockyards here in Fort Worth, Texas. The hometown Toros look to answer the Aztecs touchdown as Cameron Curtis is under immediate pressure, and that's Dan Trix coming away with his second sack of the ball game.
And how would you like 6'5", 316 pounds of Dan Trix looming over your fallen body? Not a bad way to start the drive if you're the Mexico City defense.
Curtis looking to keep the ball moving down the field. He finds Garrett Jr. over the middle, but he's 4 yards short of the sticks, and that'll bring on the punting unit.
And if Fort Worth is going to be successful in this game, they're going to have to sustain drives a little more successfully than that. Cameron Curtis needed to get Cade Stevens and Stephen Hacker a target. Did not happen. Neither wide receiver has a target or a catch so far in this game.
High snap control by Einhorn. He's able to knock that one away. Fair catch called for by Jason Bartley, and we're going to send you to the SFL studios for the first time today as we got an update from Carolina versus Baltimore.
Thank you, Tyler. Same week, same result for Baltimore, Mike.
Yes, Cam, Baltimore's off to a quick start. Jack Whitmore finds Mac Chima. He turns upfield and crosses the goal line. Baltimore goes up early, 7-0 on Carolina.
That Skyhawk defense still struggling in the Battle of the Birds. Back to Fort Worth with Tyler and Josh.
Thanks, Cam. First play from scrimmage is a jumping one-handed catch from Fox Highwind as he picks up 5 on first down.
Fox Highwind actually double covered that time. Wilson gave it to him anyway. Had to leap up and go get it, but that did not seem to be an issue for him. That's probably the hardest working 5-yard catch you will see in the SFL this weekend.
Wilson will go under center here on second down, 3 wide with Jones in the backfield. Nickel look from the Toros. Wilson back to pass. Can't escape the pressure, and this time the sack does count for the Toros. It's a loss of about 4, and he's taken down by Kerry Marks.
Yeah, Marks, who jumped offside the first quarter, manages to stay onside there and gets home on the rush. Matt Wilson down in a heap. Fort Worth wants to keep this game close. They've got to do more of that, please.
3rd and 9 here for the Aztecs. Pass over the middle to no one, and the Toros defense holds strong.
And this is what happens when you sack a quarterback, Tyler, that's not used to getting sacked. They get a little jumpy. They get the ball out earlier than they mean to. They start missing wide receivers, and that can lead to turnovers as well. That is exactly the kind of drive Fort Worth needed on the defensive side. Now Mexico City's going to have to punt.
We're able to convert last drive on 3rd down on their only attempt on 3rd down. This drive goes for naught, so it'll be a very short drive compared to their 17-play drive just a few moments ago as the kicks away from George Amy and the return by Cade Stevens goes absolutely nowhere. Are you a next-level SFL fan? Visit the SFL League website at simulationfl.net for info on how to create a player and to join our community. Check out League Leaders. We've got stats from all 17 seasons of SFL action and track game, season, and career numbers of all the players over time who have gone from couch to field. The Simulation Football League, 17 seasons strong. Offset single back here on 1st down for the Toros. Williams spins away from one tackler, but gets right back to the line of scrimmage, and is stopped up right at the line of scrimmage. And one thing I noticed while looking at these two teams here, Josh, is that Mexico City's defense has improved drastically from last season.
Yeah, they really have. And I think those 3 rookies on the secondary were tremendous picks. Jermaine Menafield, Gerard Brody, those are guys I watched in the SFLM quite a bit. They're outstanding defenders. They play against the run really well. Menafield getting in the backfield there. You saw that firsthand.
Cameron Curtis back to pass again. Into coverage, and it's deflected away and incomplete by Katie Horo as we were given a couple of notes here on this in the booth from Cameron Irvine as wanted you to know that Stephen Hacker went down on that play about 2 plays ago. So big injury blow here for the Toros.
Yeah, it really is. And Cade Stevens now going to have to shoulder the load. But when you look at the personnel that they've had As I say that, they go 3 wide receivers here, but they've used a lot of 22 personnel and 31 personnel, and they may be pushed into that later in the game.
Curtis looks to fire, and it's nearly picked off. That was a dangerous pass, and that's going to be Ben Charbs that nearly came away with the pick.
Yeah, Charbs just sitting in his zone, knows exactly where the ball's going. Curtis under pressure, does not get the throw that he wants to Garrett Jr. in the sideline, and you just see him sitting right there. That's not a difficult play. The only problem with that is that if Charbs would have caught that, he would run it back.
So here again, the Toros are going to have to punt. Einhorn's going to come on for the 3rd time today to go ahead and punt this one away. Gets it safely away, down for Jason Bartley. Starts his return and gets shoulder to the turf right there at the 32. Nothing doing on the return. And out comes the Mexico City offense once again as their last drive stalled out on a 3-and-out, but didn't hurt them too much, and they're back on the field here, Josh.
Well, when you look at what Mexico City has done so far in this game, they are almost keeping Phoenix Jones in reserve. Fort Worth, very good pass defense. They're so-so against the run. But we've seen the passing more so far. 11 passes against just 6 rushes so far.
And off for Jones to add to that rushing total as he gets away from one, is streaking down the near side of the field, and is finally taken down at the Mexico City 46.
And Jones just doing a nice job of taking what the offensive line is giving him and just run it to the outside here. Great blocking up there. Bill Henry, the rookie, gets a block there. You see Mike Daggs, the Hall of Famer, getting a block in there as well. Very easy to run for big yards when you're getting a couple of tight ends like Henry and Daggs opening up holes for you.
Now here on this first down from their 46, they go into a split back formation as one of the safeties for Fort Worth creeps up to the far side. 8 men in the box for Fort Worth. Wilson to throw. Looks far side. That's caught by Highwind, but a nice little out route. He's down to the midfield stripe.
And Highwood, this looks like this is just going to be a microcosm of his afternoon. Just 5-yard catches on the left side of the field. And I think he would be just fine with that. His 6th catch of the afternoon already for 40 yards, averaging just over 6 yards a pop.
Justin Reside and Dwayne Schindler, our statisticians today, already saying that that's Highwind's 6th catch of the ball game. Can't go anywhere this time, Wilson. It's the 2nd sack of the game for the Toros defense.
And just when it looked like Mexico City was going to rip off another long drive, down goes Wilson again, sacked for the 2nd time this afternoon. And this time it's Jeff Duffy, who came over from Queen City last season. A nice little rip move to go to the interior and get right to the quarterback and gets his defense into a 3rd and long situation where they have a chance to get off the field now, Tyler.
Got around Dante Dangerfield rather nicely, and here on 3rd and long, no traditional wide receivers, only 3 tight ends and 2 running backs here on 3rd and long. Pass near side Jones, and Jones has to fight for the first down. He gets it. On an unconventional formation, they pick up the first down.
Yeah, the Mexico City had everybody thinking run. Phoenix Jones flares out. The personnel's not matched up. And you can see there's nobody there. The secondary's already backpedaling. Jones sneaking away with another first down. He has had a few of those this afternoon already.
Little swing passes, little out routes have been the bread and butter for Mexico City today. They haven't tried to go deep down the field so far today. So far, the longest pass completion has been a 22-yard scamper from Phoenix Jones, but that's been about it. Goal line set here on first down inside Fort Worth territory. Jones gets the call again. Shoulders another man to the ground. That's the man who took him down last time, Adam Leach, as he finally gets down after a gain of 7. Update on Stephen Hacker. He has cramps, may return, and we'll shoot it over to Cameron Irvine and Mike St. Green for an update from Carolina.
Thanks, Tyler. Mike, how many players can score on a 68-yard crossing route? Mac Chima can.
Apparently it's Mac Chima, Cam. 2 possessions for Baltimore, 2 Mac Chima touchdowns on a little crossing route here. Breaks the tackle of Christian Hadley all the way to the end zone. 68 yards later, Baltimore's up 14-0.
All Baltimore now, the Aztecs in the end zone. Back to Fort Worth. Highwind with the catch.
Thanks, Cam and Mike. Another gorgeous catch from Fox Highwood, his second one-handed grab of the day.
And this time, Highwind on the right side of the field at the bunch. He's the inside slot and just finds a hole right there, almost nestled perfectly in between 4 defenders. Highwind just doing a great job of getting open this afternoon.
Already has been targeted 8 times, has caught 7 of those balls thrown his way. Now in the red zone are the Aztecs, looking to extend their advantage. Pressure coming again from Wilson. He finds Highwind on the far side, who reaches for the end zone, but is knocked out of bounds at the 1.
And that's another great out route by Highwind. Manages to turn upfield as well. Really close to reaching the pylon there. Stopped just short, but it's first and goal. And the Aztecs will get 4 tries from the 1.
Last time they were here, they tried running up the gut, and one of the guards, being Kalamata, had the holding penalty, which didn't deter them from punching in a 1 play later. Can they give it to Jones to make amends for last time out? Wilson, back to pass, is going to dump it out far side, and they're going to say Highwind was in the area, so no intentional grounding call.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise there. The weird, couldn't tell if the ball came out of Wilson's hand awkwardly or not. Obviously a broken play there, but no harm done. Second and goal now.
Oh, coverage backs off deep into the end zone as the Aztecs come up with a split back goal line formation. It'll be an easy handoff, and paying the price of getting the end zone was Phoenix Jones, but he does get to the end zone, and the Aztecs extend their lead.
Yeah, probably not the best idea to have 6 defenders 5 yards off the ball, but that's what happened. Phoenix Jones take a quick advantage. You know, sometimes you see them give it to the fullback there. Tyler Ray Bentley could have taken that. Phoenix Jones could have taken that. Matt Wilson probably could have snuck it in himself. All kinds of options there. But Mexico City coming away with 6 points again.
9-play drive, 66 yards in total, culminated with that Phoenix Jones punch into the end zone. Snap spot, Cole Varner's kick is up and good, and the Aztecs lead is 14. The SFL 17th postseason gets underway on Next Level Sports and for the fans Saturday, October 16th and Sunday, October 17th with wildcard round matchups. For the newest SFL participants, the SFL's minor league, the SFLM, kicks off its 4th season Friday, October 15th. The SFL's YouTube channel is home to all the minor league action at youtube.com/simulationfl. To get on the field and into the action, visit simulationfl.net. To create a player today, as Cade Stevens took one from near his own end zone and finds a way out to about the 22-yard line.
And Stevens knows that if he is going to give his team to win, even, that he's going to have to make a big play on special teams. It didn't quite happen there, but his afternoon is not through yet by any stretch.
2 tight ends, offset eye behind Cameron Curtis. It's back to pass, pressure coming, dumps it out for Williams near the near side, who spins away from one and fights his way forward for first down yardage.
Yeah, outstanding second and third effort there by Williams. Only 1 wide receiver in the game, no problem. Curtis is just going to dump it off there. Look at all that space he's got. Makes the first defender miss, shrugs off the second. That's just outstanding running after the catch.
I don't know if they're trying to lull the Aztec defense to sleep here, Josh, but Curtis is 6 of 8 so far today in passing, and getting 6 attempts on the ground has been Williams, only 25 yards on the ground, but he's done a lot more of his work from passing category so far, 16 yards on 2 receptions. Offset eye, 2 wide receivers near side. Williams gets the call to the far side, and he can't get farther than the original line of scrimmage, taken down right there by KT Horrell.
Yeah, you mentioned the numbers on Curtis, 6 of 8 so far, probably playing a little more conservative than he would like. 4 interceptions last week. That's his second 4 interception game of the season. And Curtis right now just trying to sustain a drive at this point.
And off to the fullback, Aaron Alexander, his first carry in a couple weeks, and he can't find any momentum. Stopped up again by Horrell at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, this linebacking core for Mexico City, Ronnie Watson, KT Horrell, and Dexter Jackson, a very versatile group. They do a nice job of defending passes, can also come in and play the run. They could blitz as well. They probably make a nice farmer's market omelet too.
Now the Toros try to copy and paste what the Aztec offense did with an unconventional power eye set for their opportunity. It goes for naught. Only 3 yards on the pitch and catch for Williams. And again, they're going to have to send out the punting unit for the 4th time today.
And you got to wonder at this point how fair it is to put all of this on Jason Williams. And I know he's only had 10 touches in the game so far. But Stephen Hacker's injured, so we have to consider that as well. But Cade Stevens, once again, sitting in this game without a single target so far.
High punt will be called for a fair catch by Jason Bartley at the 33. And the Aztecs will take over. And it's been a very strong offensive performance for these Aztecs as Wilson is leading the charge once again here for Mexico City.
Yeah, and this has just been a perennially even, Tyler, if I could talk for a minute, very good Mexico City offense. In the regression era, going all the way back to season 10, they've never finished worse than 6th. And they finished 6th twice. Well, they finished 10th once, but we don't really count that.
Here we go. Jones gets the call on first down, and the Toros defense gets to Jones right at the line of scrimmage, maybe knocking him back for a yard, but something we noticed last season and coming into the season, we expected the Toros defense to be one of the best in the business, and in fact they are. It's just the offense hasn't helped them out a whole lot.
Well, the turnovers are killing them. -7 turnover differential. That's toward the bottom of the league, and they're not getting the takeaways on defense either.
Well, this time they play bump coverage, and Adam Leach is able to help force that incompletion, and it's 3rd down.
When they have playmakers on this defense, Tyler, that's the thing you have to consider. You know, for a team that's 3-6, they've been extremely competitive. I think 4 of their 6 games, they've only lost by 1 score or less, and they've been hanging in these games. They just can't keep the offense on the field.
3rd down here for the Aztecs. Wilson back to throw, fires deep over the middle. That's caught! And headed toward the end zone is Bill Henry looking for his first touchdown. He stopped up just short at the 2.
And that is a tough break. Bill Henry, so exuberant. You think he would have gotten into the end zone. And that's just a great catch and run. And that is an Achilles heel of this Fort Worth defense. As good as they are, they will give up some big plays. And you see one there, Henry just running right down the hash mark. A straight 9 route. And there's just, I think it was Delaney Nash that might have been trying to play the ball on that. An ill-advised decision there. Henry, if he had some 2nd or 3rd year development, probably would have gotten to that in the end zone. But now, once again, Mexico City right on the doorstep. They got 4 plays to score.
Signed in week 7 from Tacoma in the minor league. Almost got his first touchdown in the league as they'll hand off to the Hall of Famer Ray Bentley. It'll only pick up just a yard as we hit the 2-minute warning here in Fort Worth. The Aztecs look to continue with their dominance. We'll be right back. You're watching the SFL on Next Level Sports, presented by APM Music. Mexico City looking to punch it in on the goal line. Tyler Falk alongside Josh Circle. Wilson in the gun with Bentley and Jones to his left and right. 2 wide receivers near side. Wilson to throw. Steps up in the pocket looking for the corner, and it's a wide open receiver. And the Aztecs extend the lead as Jason Bartley hauls it in for the score.
And that's just a nice job by Mexico City spreading everybody else out. You know, they're going to go to Bentley. They're going to go to Phoenix Jones. Who knows? So now you have to account for both of those guys. You see the defense cheating over toward Jones, and that leaves Bartley wide open. The third-year wide receiver has never had an easier touchdown catch in his life.
And the Aztecs look to be running away with this one as Cole Varner is on to make it a 21-point ball game here late in the first half. Snap spot. Kick is delayed, but is finally up and good from Cole Varner. And the Aztecs are completely shutting out the Toros. 21-zip.
Yeah, and that play catalyzed by that huge Bill Henry catch and run. Bill Henry only had 31 yards all season coming into this game, tripled his season total, and for that matter, his career total with his one 65-yard catch so far.
Josh, I don't know about you, but from a neutral perspective, I want to see him get his first touchdown today. As here comes Cade Stevens on the return. He gets leveled at the 23-yard line. What a crunching hit.
And Stevens is going to take a few shots. He's going to try and play some hero ball and try and find the house in the kick return game. But that also means he's going to take some big shots like that. And that is hazardous to your health if it's not obvious.
That was the backup tailback, all 215 pounds of Lee Gallant laying the lumber to Cade Stevens on the return. 2-minute drill time here for the Toros. The first pass is over the middle and hauled in by one of the tight ends again. And it's a good pickup of 9 for Robert Garrett Jr.
Yeah, Garrett Jr. making a nice catch. You got to work the ball down the field at this point. You were down 21-0. There's nothing left to lose. Nobody cares about your interceptions at this point. Nobody cares about your turnovers at this point. You got to try and salvage something here and try and get into the locker room on a high note.
Offset I for the Toros here on 2nd and short. Handoff, Williams near side, has a lane to run, and he's got a good pickup down to the 42. And here come the Toros into the hurry-up offense. Curtis will dump it off for Williams, this time on the far side. Williams only able to pick up 3 before being brought down. This might be the wrong formation to be in, Josh, for this kind of offense.
Totally agree, especially when you have all your timeouts.
Handoff near side. Williams gets stopped up in the backfield. Loss of 1 by Katie Horrell, and they'll call a timeout to stop the clock and change up the formation.
And see, when you call the timeout after first down, then you can get it a second long, and you've got a chance to give your quarterback, Cameron Curtis, just a little bit of cushion there. Now it's 3rd and 8, and if he doesn't convert here, then he's got to go off the field. On 2nd down, you'd have a chance to throw it away or maybe get stopped. You don't have that luxury here.
Curtis to throw, fires over the middle. That's tipped up and picked off by the Aztecs. And there's Gerard Brody, who gets another pick in 2 weeks. He had one last week, the rookie. Now I'll make it his 5th on the season.
Yeah, Brody doing a nice job here. He's playing deep half, and the ball just literally bounces into his hands. Able to return it out to midfield, and that's unfortunate. But Cameron Curtis trying to make something happen here on the offensive side. And Gerard Brody, on the other hand, just doing his job, going about his day a little bit more normally, and finds a little gift hop right into his hands.
Mexico City will start on the logo right there at the 50-yard line. 4 wide, and Jones in the backfield. Wilson looks near side. He gives it right back to the Toros. Adam Leach comes up with the interception, and the Toros are right back in business.
And that's tremendous. Fort Worth making a play, giving their team a chance to stay in it. They're down 3 scores. They know any sort of first down here is going to make this a 24-point game. And Leach just doing a nice job reaching out and grabbing that ball.
So it's pretty much as you were from about 10 seconds ago, Josh, as the Toros offense retakes the field after throwing a pick. They get the ball back on the ensuing play. and they come out in an offset eye with only one wide receiver with under a minute to go here in the second quarter. Curtis dumps it off for Williams near side, and he was going to get stopped short, well short of the line of scrimmage, only a yard on the play, and they go to the hurry up under 30 seconds and only one true wide receiver out there in the formation.
Great job by the secondary, corralling Williams on the run.
Aaron Alexander this time on the reception. The fullback gets hit hard right there at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a pickup of 2. Ronnie Watson lays the lumber. 10 seconds to go here for the Toros in the first half. Handoff, Williams near side, tries to spin away and can't. He's taken down, gain of 2, 4th down, and the clock expires here in the first half. And we're going to go ahead and go right into the halftime break with the Aztecs leading 21-0. And something that we haven't been able to do a whole lot, Josh, is talk here on halftime with everybody here listening at home on Next Level Sports and For the Fans Twitch. But what did you think about that first half? Pretty much all Mexico City all day.
Yeah, and you see why the Aztecs are leading the Tex-Mex division. They've just done a great job of sustaining drives, but also making big plays as well. Bill Henry with the biggest play of all so far, that 65-yard catch and run, getting past that Fort Worth defense. But Matt Wilson, sitting back here throwing dives, he has been sacked twice today, but he has really not been slowed down at all. And they've been able to sustain drives. And also this, as we see Phoenix Jones getting into the end zone there. There have been so many times where Mexico City has just had 4 plays for the 1-yard line or the 2-yard line, and those first and goals really just taking a toll on this Fort Worth defense as we see the big Bill Henry catch and run. And I'm so heartbroken that he could not find the end zone there, finally wrestled down at the 2. But really, the Aztecs are dictating every aspect of this game. Cameron Curtis with that unfortunate interception. But yes, it has been all Aztecs so far, Tyler.
And it started right with the first drive for the Aztecs. They come out and set a 17-play drive, and like you said there, Josh, dictate the tempo.
And Adam Leach coming up with a big interception there. And Fort Worth, unfortunately, it's going to be on their defense. Not only do they have to get Mexico City's offense off the field, they're going to have to come up with a turnover or 2 or 3 if they want to get Fort Worth back into this game.
I'm Tyler Falk. He's Josh Zirkle. We welcome back all of you here on Next Level and the FTF Twitch to the Stockyards here in Fort Worth, Texas. Dwayne Schindler and Justin Resider are statisticians, with Cameron Irvine back at SFL headquarters as our producer, and we're underway here in the second half of action. The Aztecs will get the ball to start, as it'll be Jason Bartley who will take it out of his own end zone, and the return ultimately will net positive at the 22-yard line, and the Aztecs have a chance to just completely take control of this football game with another strong drive, Josh.
Yeah, a couple things in their favor. Ray Bentley, totally fresh, does not have a single carry at all. But Phoenix Jones, only 10 carries in the first half, 12 touches in total. He's going to be very fresh and in a position to close out this game for Mexico City. And maybe a little early to talk about that, but not that early.
Wilson to throw on first down, into coverage, and it falls incomplete in and out of the hands of J.L. Browning. Not a wise decision there from the Hall of Famer.
No, that ball's right there. It's almost like Wilson didn't see him. You see Browning just going up and just playing the hook zone and getting a big paw up and getting that. Had 3 passes deflected coming into the game. There's number 4 right there. And Browning going to work extra hard to get the Fort Worth defense off the field.
After the incomplete pass, second down from the 22 as the defense creeps up a little bit onto the line of scrimmage. Handoff up the middle for Jones. Shrugs off one would-be tackler and is tackled after a good pickup of 8 yards, and he's getting closer to that 50-yard mark here in the ballgame.
We're talking about closing out this game, and look, we know it's early here in the third quarter, but Mexico City just doing whatever they seem to want to do on the offensive side, and now going to 23 personnel to run, and now they've got one running back out for 3rd and 2.
Wilson the pass again, fires far side. That's caught by Bartley, and it's another first down for the Aztecs. And we want to remind you, with the win here today, no matter what else happens in the league here in Week 10, a win against these Toros would clinch the division for Mexico City.
And really, it has been a very competitive division, not only historically, But this year, if you take out Mexico City, you still have all those other clubs talking about Fort Worth, but also Lone Star and Houston as well. They're all kind of duking it out in the same, very similar records.
Oh, that's just unfortunate play for Phoenix Jones, and Adam Leach with his second pick of the day is going to return that for the opening score for the Toros.
Yeah, second pick. This is a little bit better than the first pick, Tyler. Leach finds a gift, hops right in his hand, already has a full head of steam. Matt Wilson, no catch, just no chance to catch him. See you later, return to sender, a pick 6 for Fort Worth.
That's something we don't often see from Phoenix Jones, is dropping a swing pass, and it just ends up in the hands of Adam Leach, and the Toros finally get on the board. On comes Taco Sicario on to attempt the extra point. Snap spot kick is up, and it is good from Sicario, and they have life here in the third quarter. It's 21-7. Mexico City leads, as we want you to visit the SFL website at simulationfl.net for links to apparel from Sector 6, the official apparel provider of the Simulation Football League, and SFL mini helmets from 97 Sports Promotions. Sector 6 features replica team jerseys and completely customized jackets, flags, t-shirts, and more. Get the gear the fans wear with Sector 6, 97 Sports Promotions, and the SFL. McCall now the return man for the Aztecs, and he tries to get to the outside and is taken down at the 22, and we'll shoot it back to SFL headquarters with Cam and Mike, and they have got some news to tell us about what's going on between Carolina and Baltimore.
Thank you, Tyler. Logan Jack sniped on the goal line, Mike, but Carolina's in.
Yeah, Logan Jack's touchdown was called back on a challenge by Baltimore, but Jared Grimes takes it in on the 1-yard run. Carolina moves a little closer to Baltimore.
20-7, as does Fort Worth to Mexico City. Back to Tyler and Josh.
Thanks, Cam. And both clubs coming into about halftime or near about that, with them being shut up, finally are on the board. And we got a ball game again in both sets of games here, Josh.
We sure do. I'm really hoping that Fort Worth is able to get another competent drive here together on the defensive side.
Oh, here they send the house, and they get to Matt Wilson for the third time today. It's a loss of 6.
And is that Jeff Duffy again? Yes, it is. His second sack of the afternoon. A little showmanship over the face of Matt Wilson. There are some other leagues that don't like that, but in the SFL, we say bring it on. We love the showmanship here.
Be a ISO up the middle for Phoenix Jones, as he had a ways to go, and he's going to be well short, 8 yards short, in fact, and the Aztecs are going to have to punt it away, and the Turtles defense, which has kept this club in ball games, comes up huge again.
And I don't know if you saw it, Tyler, but that Mexico City offensive line blown off the ball by that gang of Jeff Duffy, Joey Schwint, and Gary Marks. And somehow Phoenix Jones was able to get out of that mess. But look out, this Toros D-line is ready to play.
Amy is able to punt this one away. It's a shorter punt, all things considering, as Stevens is able to haul it in for the fair catch at his own 47. And now the offense finally gets a chance to come back on the field and start another drive here in the second half.
Yeah, come back on for the first time in the second half, too. Cameron Curtis watching Adam Leach score more points than he did in an entire half. Now Curtis has a chance to answer.
And off Williams, near side. Big hole for Williams, and he's going to cross the 40 and down to the 37 of Mexico City. Big play to start the drive.
Yeah, that was Jeffrey Daggs that came for the free safety spot to flag him down. And if Jeffrey does not make that tackle, I'm not sure that we're not watching Jason Williams run into the end zone for Fort Worth's second touchdown in the span of about 10 minutes.
Momentum possibly has shifted back to the home team as they come out with an offset eye. Wide receiver bunched in tight there on the line to the right side. Curtis fires near side, and that's caught on the swing route by Jason Williams, who turns upfield, tackled after a gain of 4 by Jermaine Menafield.
And if all Fort Worth could manage out of this drive as a field goal, that wouldn't be the end of the world. That would make it an 11-point game. you'd still be 2 scores back, but instead you'd be a touchdown and a field goal back as opposed to 2 touchdowns.
And Williams up the middle has a nice hole created for him by Aaron Alexander and company, and he'll pick up the first down.
And I was glad to see that he got the first down on that spot. Phoenix Jones was getting those spots, and I thought, well, Jason Williams should be getting that spot too. And that was about a similar situation where Jones would run up to the plane. It was close. Did he get it? Did he not get it? Williams did the same thing. And of course he did get it there. Fort Worth has a fresh set of downs.
Offset eye, tight end flexed off to the left side of the formation for Fort Worth. Curtis back to pass. It'll be a dump route to Aaron Alexander, his 3rd catch of the ball game. And he turns upfield good for about 3 before being tackled by Ben Charbs and Jeremiah Menefield.
Yeah, one of the wild things about Alexander, the rookie, is that they obviously used him for blocking for Williams, but then he really factors into the passing game as well. 22 catches on the season so far. Doesn't get a lot of yardage, but he is a nice sort of change of pace back for them in the passing game.
Williams gets the call up the middle. He's a yard shy of the sticks. Is a first down saving tackle by KT Horrell. They'll have to make one more stop to force a field goal try.
And you don't want to overstate things at this point, Tyler, but this is the biggest play of the game right now for Fort Worth. You need 1 yard. Give it to your big man. Give it to Jason Williams and let him do the work and just set the table for him.
8 men in the box. They'll hand off Williams. Trentz gets into the backfield and takes down Williams for a loss. A loss of 4, and it's another big play from the sophomore season big man defensive tackle.
And I love the play call. I like the decision to go to Williams, obviously. Dan Trentz just blowing stuff up, getting back in the backfield. That's an outstanding play by Mexico City.
And so we'll see Taco Sicario on to attempt a 38-yard try. This will be near the left hash. Snap spot. Kick is up, and it is through the uprights. Good from 38, and the Toros inch a little bit closer. It's 21-10, Mexico City. Visit the SFL's YouTube channel at youtube.com/SimulationFL for an archive of every game, every draft, every moment you might have missed since the Simulation Football League got its start in 2013. SFL YouTube features top 10 plays of the week, archive people behind player segments, and all the major milestones in league history.
Tyler, right now, Fort Worth 1 for 8 on 3rd down. They're going to have to step that up a little bit. They're going to be competitive in this last quarter and a half.
Other long kick from Taco, and this time McCall's just going to go ahead and take a knee in the end zone, and they'll start this next drive from the 20-yard line.
And to quote Julie Andrews from The Sound of Music, that is a very good place to start this drive. Matt Wilson has been on the turf 3 times today. After we talked about how little he gets sacked, he's been sacked quite a bit. This Fort Worth D-line is going to come looking for more.
Flag on the play as Jones gets the call near side, shrugs off a tackler, shrugs off a couple more before being finally taken down near the 40-yard line. And we'll see what the call is here for Mark 62.
And I'm not sure if this is going to stand or not, Tyler, but Mexico City has done a great job of getting Phoenix Jones out in space, especially on the run game, running outside of the tackles. It is just tremendous to watch him work. And once he is being met by defenders, he's got a full head of steam. You can see right there, boom. They're trying to tackle him from behind. That is a losing combination when it comes to bringing down Phoenix Jones.
Jeff Duffy was called for offsides, and so that play stands. A big scamper from Phoenix Jones toward that near side, and that'll get him down to about the 41-yard line, a pickup of 21. They'll stack the box, do the Fort Worth Toros defense. 10 men in the box, handoff up the middle, going for minimal yardage will be Phoenix Jones. Maybe a pickup of 1 before he's ultimately taken down by Joey Schwitt.
And you saw the numbers there for Jones. He is almost right at 5 yards a pop every time he touches the football. And that just makes every other aspect of running your offense that much easier.
Goal line set here on 2nd down. And off Jones up the middle. Gets a block from Bentley. Shoulders a man at the 45. And it's crossed midfield and into Fort Worth territory with the 1st down.
And that was poor Blake Prine, the free safety, trying to come up and help in the run game. We are going to get a replay here. And it's just another great run up the middle. And then Port, boom, right there. And that's Aiden Davis, trying to come up and make a play. It turns out he was the play. Another first down for Mexico City.
Thanks to Justin Rasad and Dwayne Schindler, our statisticians, as Phoenix Jones is right up there at about 90 yards on the day. Wilson looks near side, tipped up and tipped again, and it's nearly caught and also nearly intercepted by KT Horo, and it falls to the turf.
Almost another big moment for the Toros. Had a chance to get off the field in a hurry there. Wilson put a lot of zip on that ball. That might have been the difference between it falling incomplete or falling into enemy hands.
2nd and 10 for the Aztecs. 3 wide, only 1 deep safety. Wilson fires far side. That's Holden near the line to gain, ultimately a yard short. Jason Bartley with the reception, tackled by Adam Leach.
And Leach coming up great defending the sticks there, tackling Jason Bartley right in front of the first down marker, giving his defense a chance to get off the field here at 3rd and 1, Tyler.
Big 3rd down for the Toros. Can they hold them here and keep their playoff hopes alive? Handoff up the middle, Jones, and he's able to muscle his way forward for the first down to the 37-yard line.
And it's just too good. They hit him behind the line of scrimmage. They had a chance to bring him down, and he just powered through. And Phoenix Jones is setting himself up to be the star of the show here in the second half.
Our show, and I called it yesterday on Netball. He might be an MVP front runner, Mr. Phoenix Jones, as he gets 3 yards this time around, but Adam Leach comes up with the big tackle.
And it's interesting because when I think about Mexico City, I always think of Matt Wilson. I always think of Mike Daggs and this great passing game. And obviously what a great job Ramos Lynn has done with his franchise. But Phoenix Jones right now, I mean, sitting 2nd in rush yards, 2nd in rushing touchdowns. I mean, he's the straw stirring the drink in this offense.
Quick drop from Wilson, floats it near side for Bentley, and Bentley can't go further than the original line of scrimmage. That'll bring up 3rd down.
Bentley with a rare touch that we have seen this afternoon, at least. What a great mentor for Phoenix Jones. Bentley, who's done it all in this league. 3rd all-time in rush yardage, 7th all-time in touchdowns. SFL Hall of Famer.
Another big 3rd down here for the Aztecs. They float it over the middle, and that's Bartley with the grab. They currently sit at 5 of 7 for the day, and they're just continuing to show why they are one of the best 3rd down converters so far this season, the best in the league.
Yeah, and they're making it look very simple against a very good pass defense. It's kind of marvelous to watch. Guys getting open in triple coverage, quadruple coverage, finding ridiculous seams, tight windows. They're humming right now.
Jones on the carry. He's going to fight forward for very nice yardage, 9 yards all told, and they're sitting pretty at the 8-yard line.
You know, and we're glowing over this Mexico City passing game, and we're sitting here glowing over this Mexico City run game. And it's just, you wonder how this team lost 2 games. I mean, they just look so magnificent. They had back-to-back losses against Florida and St. Louis in weeks 5 and 6. 4-game win streak before that. On the cusp of getting another 4-game win streak if they win here this afternoon.
I'll go up the middle for Phoenix Jones on the carry. I thought he was lined up at the fullback spot. Indeed, does get the call. And it's 1st and goal for the Aztecs.
And once again, 4 plays to score from right on the front porch for Fort Worth.
Goal line set. 4 yards to hit Pater. Handoff. Jones out of the backfield. Can't get away from the tackler. It looked like he had a gaping hole, but denying him of the touchdown was David Orell.
And for the second time in this game, Tyler, Mexico City ripping off another epic drive. Their first drive of the game went 17 plays. This is play number 13 right here.
Another long drive for the Aztecs. They go again for Phoenix Jones, and this time he's able to trot into the end zone for touchdown number 2 on the day, and the Aztecs extend their lead back out to 17.
just really impressive how effective Mexico City has been in the red zone and up at close yardage. We've seen so many teams in this league struggle to do that when the defense is compressed. You don't have as much room to operate. You can't run long routes with your receivers. And that does not seem to bother Mexico City at all. They had the receiving touchdown by Bartley. Remember the right corner of the end zone earlier in the game in the first half. And they're doing it again here on the ground with Phoenix Jones, his second touchdown of the game.
Bull Bonner on to attempt the extra point. Snap spot. Kick is up, and it is through, and it's 28-10. Mexico City lead. Coverage of the Simulation Football League 17th season on Next Level Sports continues Saturday, September 25th at 9 p.m. Eastern in prime time. Next Level Sports picks up the second half of Arizona-Mexico City, followed by the tussle in the Pacific between its top two teams, Los Angeles and Vancouver. A 9:50 p.m. Eastern kickoff. Bonus coverage includes Louisiana and St. Louis and Lone Star in Las Vegas. It all comes your way next Saturday on Next Level Sports. Return, we'll get to the 25 and we'll send you back to SFL headquarters with Cam and Mike for another game break between the Battle of the Birds.
Thank you, Tyler. Mike, the comeback is officially on. Heath McDaniel Jr. with the touchdown. It's 20-14 at the half. We'll get Mike fixed in a moment.
And Williams out of the backfield. He goes nowhere, back to the line of scrimmage. And one thing to note with that Carolina-Baltimore game, Carolina has already knocked off one undefeated team, that being the Queen City Corsairs in dramatic walk-off fashion. Will they do the same thing to the Vultures, Josh?
Well, I tell you what, Baltimore's very vulnerable. They struggled last week, and this is not a team that I would just assume is going to go undefeated.
Well, we'll have to see as we end the third quarter and head into the fourth. The Aztecs lead 28-10. You're watching the SFL on Next Level Sports. We'll return in a moment. Welcome back to the Stockyards here in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Tyler Falk alongside Josh Circle. Thanks for joining us here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Handoff Jason Williams up the middle. He gets about 4 yards before being stopped up, and it'll bring up third down. But we want to remind you that 8 p.m. music is unrivaled music to bring your stories to life. inspiring every production with the world's most robust and constantly refreshed music collection, state-of-the-art technology, and world-class customer service. 8PM Music is the official soundtrack of the Simulation Football League. To explore their library and to find the perfect tracks for your projects, 8pmmusic.com. Big third down for Fort Worth, and they try to find Lauren Percorco over the middle, and it falls incomplete. And one thing that has hurt them today, Josh, is they have not found a traditional wide receiver. Cade Stevens and Steven Hacker do not have a single target today.
Yeah, and there are just too many times where Fort Worth has been late in the game, and that has happened, where it's been Cade Stevens or Steven Hacker. No catches, no targets. And it's not something that I will pretend to understand with this offense. But when you are 23rd in passing yards a game, you are 23rd in passing touchdowns a game, and you are not throwing to your wide receivers, you have to take a step back and ask yourself why.
Punt from Ryan Einhorn. We've called his name quite a bit today as McCall gets the return started. He's taken down at the 45-yard line, and the Aztecs take over with 10 minutes and 23 seconds from them being confirmed as the South Division champions.
Yeah, and that's always a great thing, especially in the SFL playoff format, to have that division title going into the postseason. That is a sort of VIP card for Club Cam that could get you into the swankiest playoff spots.
Wilson will be back to throw here on first down. He's tackled in the backfield again. His fourth time he's been brought down behind the line, and it's the second time he's been brought down by Gary Marks.
Yeah, Gary Marks saying it's not too late to say goodbye. We're just beating his defender, beating his blocker. Gets in there on Matt Wilson. Matt Wilson sacked 4 times this afternoon. That's the guy who gets sacked about once every 58 pass attempts. He's thrown 28 here, and he's been on his butt 4 times.
And Everett's going to go down quite a bit as he's tackled again. Sacked on back-to-back plays. Number 5 for Fort Worth. That's got to feel good for the Toros.
And that's Jeff Duffy, toot, getting back in the backfield, saying to Gary Marks, anything you can do, I can do also. Getting in there. And this might be too little too late, or this might be a chance for Fort Worth to make a big play here on 3rd and very long.
3rd and a country mile, and they're going to run with Phoenix Jones going nowhere. The Toros defense. Oh my goodness, Jeff Duffy and Gary Marks with a story of that 3 and out.
Absolutely, and now they're going to get the ball back here with about 8, just under 9 minutes to play in regulation. You're only down 18 points. You got a chance to make some magic happen.
On comes George Amy to send it away to Fort Worth. And a little bit of life is creeping back into the game. Cade Stevens with the return. He goes nowhere right there to the 27. And we'll be right back after this short commercial break. The Toros looking to crouch back into this one. You're watching the SFL on Next Level Sports. 8:52 left to go in the fourth quarter. The Toros looking to make a comeback. Swing pass to a sliding Williams, and he'll be just told to stay there on his butt for a loss of 2.
Yeah, interesting decision. I know it was a low ball. Williams almost would have been better off not catching that and just enjoying the time savings. Now you've lost 2 yards, and you've lost 30 seconds.
2nd down and 12 from the 24. Offset eye and 2 wide receivers out in the formation. Curtis has time, fires over the middle. That one's caught, but they'll rule Robert Garrett Jr. short of the first. And we got a major update from Carolina and Baltimore as the Skyhawks are looking to take the lead.
Mike, the Carolina Skyhawks, could they do it again?
Cam, 17-point underdog, down 20 points early in the first quarter. They come all the way back. Logan Jack with a second touchdown run, 21-20, Carolina.
Unbelievable in the third quarter. Looking at the challenge of the spot of the ball right now in Fort Worth. Back to Tyler and Josh.
Thanks, Cam and Mike. It looked pretty close. Let's see what R62 has decided.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The home team.
And indeed, they will get the first. The ball did cross the plane of the line to gain, and so the Fort Worth Toros drive continues.
And that is huge. But also, the clock is going to continue running as well. So Fort Worth needs to hurry up there and get a playoff as soon as they can.
Wide out, single back set for the Toros on a new set of downs. Curtis back to pass, steps of the pocket and takes off with it. It will slide down to save himself for a pickup of 2. That's smart football from Cameron Curtis.
Well, I would have liked to see him throw it away right there. 2 yards doesn't really do you a lot of good when you're down 18 points. I think they would have made a better decision just getting rid of the ball, stopping the clock. Now the clock is continuing to run, Tyler.
It does continue to run. You're down by 18, but still a plenty amount of time to mount this comeback. It all starts with getting points on the board here this drive. Williams gets the call, spins off one tackler, but spins right into the arms of Dan Tritz, who will take him down at the line of scrimmage.
And with 7.5 minutes, you need 3 scores, which means not only do you need to score twice, you also have to stop Mexico City twice, something that you have been struggling to do over the course of this game. At what point do you take Jason Williams out of the game plan?
Well, if you're talking first quarter there, Josh, they did struggle, but so far in the second quarter, it played very well. And that's just that's a drop. You cannot afford to drop that pass, and that was intended for Mike Caker, one of the backup wide receivers, and it's 4th down. Heartbreaking.
That's heartbreaking on several levels. That you make the decision to go to Caker, that he drops it. That is your go-to guy on 3rd and 7. I'd rather you throw it to Jason Williams at that point than go to a backup who's not giving your team the best chance to win.
Punts away from Ryan Einhorn, and on is Jason Bartley with the fair catch at the 31-yard line, and the Aztecs will take over. It's been a pretty sluggish second half of football for the Aztecs. They were able to come away with the touchdown 2 drives ago, but just hasn't really been their half to play. Only 7 points compared to the 21 they scored in the first half.
And now Mexico City, who has written some epic drives in this game, has a chance to drain this entire 6:55. They've got enough field position where they'd be able to do that.
Bentley with the call here up the middle, maybe picking up a yard, and he's brought down by Joey Schwitt.
This Fort Worth defense still fighting. They know it's all on them now. They know if Mexico City scores in any capacity, this game is essentially over.
Our eye formation. 9 men in the box for Fort Worth. And off Jones. That play's blown up before that even got started. The Toros came off the edge, and Jeff Duffy again gets into the backfield. E.K. Vincent with the assist.
Yeah, tremendous play against the run. Phoenix Jones trying to close out this game. Fort Worth having different ideas, to say the least.
Put back formation on 3rd and long. They'll go into the air. That's caught. And getting close to the first down line to gain was the tight end Mike Daggs. First time we've called him today, but he's unable to convert. And it's another disappointing 3 and out for Mexico City.
Yeah, it is. Daggs that really had to make a play there. Had to showcase some speed that you would not expect to see from the tight end position. And that is a big ask for a guy that has not really been worked into the offense so far, and now on his first catch of the game.
That's Mexico City's 4th 3 and out of the ball game. Something we don't rarely ever see in the league, as the return from Cade Stevens will get back to the 29-yard line. And with 5.5 to go, roughly, we'll take a look at the playoff standings. As right now, with the win, Mexico City clinches, and that could also end up being for them a potential, first round bye.
Yeah, and that's huge. And when you're talking sim football, you may not think a week off is that big a deal, but really to get an opportunity to see what the other teams are doing, how they're changing their offenses, what they're putting out on the field, that is a tremendous advantage. And also it gives your staff an entire break. They could go out and kick it for a week and then come back to the grind and get ready for their playoff game. The 5 through 12s do not have that same luxury, Tyler.
Absolutely. We'll see if this win will help them propel it to that, but they still have to contend with this Fort Worth Toros offense. Pass near side. That's hauled in for a first down yardage by Lauren Prococo, and they're going to have to go into the hurry up for the remainder of the game if they even want to sniff at making this comeback.
Curtis has 1 interception. Will he take a shot down the field?
Takes one to the far side. Finds his other tight end, Robert Garrett Jr., for a pickup of 9. Back under center he goes. Curtis to throw again. Tritt's coming, and he tries to find Caker on the near side, and it's dropped again.
Yeah, Caker filling in for Stephen Hacker, and not able to fill those very large shoes, as we've seen again for the second time. All of Curtis's catches at this point in the game have come from his tight ends, Garrett Jr. and Prococo.
One thing to mention here, Josh, is a couple weeks ago I took a look at the numbers, and Fort Worth, in terms of their receivers catching the football, one of the worst in terms of targets to receptions. This time they're able to pick up the first down and move the change. They're now into Mexico City territory at the 39.
Well, that's a good point to bring up, because I don't think necessarily that it's the receiver's fault or Cameron Curtis's fault. There's just something in this offense where they are not, as Cade Stevens takes a bullet right off of his helmet, there's just something about this offense where they're not getting their guys into great spots. And I don't know if it's the play calling or some other factor, and I'm not going to pretend that I know anything about running an SFL offense, but the symptoms are there. Like these players are too good to be struggling in games like this week in and week out.
Another passing play, and down goes Curtis. Taken down by KT Horrell. And it's 3rd and long now. Back to the line they come. Curtis to throw again. Into cover. It is knocked aside by KT Horrell. She gets involved in back-to-back plays. And now it's 4th and long inside Mexico City territory. You would think they'd have to go for it to have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. To have any semblance of a chance at all. And you need a series of minor miracles to happen after you are able to convert this. But of course, if you don't convert it, it's all for naught.
2 receivers in the formation. Curtis back to pass, looking over the middle into coverage, and it's nearly picked off. And it's a turnover on downs, and that might spell the end of the Fort Worth Toros season, and that might also help Mexico City to be confirmed as the South Division champions.
Yeah, Mexico City, the pride of the Tex-Mex division right now. Ben Charles making a nice deflection on that pass. Prococo still well short of the line. Would have had to beat 1 or 2 other defenders to get that first down. There's just a lot to be disappointed about with that play.
First play of the drive for Mexico City will be a handoff for Phoenix Jones up the middle. He'll get about 5 yards before being brought down. Coverage of the Simulation Football League 17th season on For the Fans continues next Sunday, September 26th at 2 p.m. Eastern. Cameron Irvine and Mike St. Green will have top 10 plays from season 17's third quarter, the updated playoff standings, league leaders through week 9, and a mega matchup between the Vancouver Legion and St. Louis Gladiators, with bonus coverage of Charleston and Queen City. And it all comes your way next Sunday on For the Fans. And off to the fullback, Ray Bentley with a head of steam and a lane to run. He'll pick up the first down, and even with running the football, Josh, these two backs, Bentley and Jones, can make plays happen here late in the game.
You know, and a lot of the great teams in the SFL right now do have two backs, and they're able to do that. And Baltimore, who's obviously playing on the Twitch, another great example of that, Jimmy Hazard, who had such a great SFL season, a very versatile guy who was able to take over his team's season in the second half of that minor league season and ultimately get to a championship with T-Roy Gaines. Call them Thunder, Lightning if you want. Call them the Twins if you want. But teams that seem to have those two options really seem to be having a lot of success in the SFL right now.
Goal line set here for the Aztecs. Hand off for Jones. He'll get almost nowhere, maybe a yard on the scamper up the gut, taken down by a couple of the Fort Worth Toros defenders, that being E.K. Vinson, and I think that was Jeff Kaler also in on the stop. And that'll take us to the 2-minute warning as Mexico City is looking to finalize win number 100 with a division championship. We'll be right back. You're watching the SFL on Next Level Sports. Two minutes to go here as Mexico City is looking for their 100th franchise win. What has been a very solid performance for the Aztecs. Jones gets the carry up the middle, and the Fort Worth Toros will take a timeout. And we remind you to don't go anywhere. Coming up next on Next Level Sports, the 4-5 London Knights will visit the 7-2 Florida Storm, where it feels like playoffs already for the Knights, hoping to remain in the thick of the playoff hunt with an upset victory. SFL Studios will also keep you updated on the 5-4 Louisiana Revolution facing the 6-3 Los Angeles Lycans. SFL action rolls on here on Next Level Sports. Another run up the gut for the Aztecs, and that is going to be stopped up short And that'll take us to a 4th down. And on comes George Amy to go ahead and pump this one away.
Yeah, the GGs are already coming out in the chat, and congratulations to Mexico City. Doesn't sound like they're going to quite have the division locked up yet. I think it depends on what Houston is able to do later in the week. But this is obviously a formidable team. They've taken a good Fort Worth team with some very talented players, some very capable pieces, and they've run roughshod over them. I know it's an 18-point difference, but it feels like it's been a lot greater than that. Cameron Curtis has struggled again. Matt Wilson has looked terrific. Phoenix Jones at points had this entire game on his back. It's been a tremendous showing for Mexico City to go on the road in your own division and to have a performance like that with the playoffs right around the corner. That's just got to be a terrific feeling for them.
Just confirming info for us is the Commissioner Cameron Irvine. The win here for the Aztecs does clinch no matter what Houston does, no matter what Lone Star is able to do. Mexico City, with the win here today, will clinch the South Division, or as we reverently refer to it here in the SFL, the Tex-Mex Division. It'll be the men south of the border that will take the division, as the swing pass near side is only able to get maybe a yard, and Fort Worth hustles back to the line. At this point, needing to convert to continue the drive, but at this point, it looks like they're just playing for pride. Curtis looks over the middle. That one is called in. Good catch, and it's another 1st down for the Toros. That's the first catch for Stephen Hacker on the day.
I realize that you call it the Tex-Mex Division. They got that name because all the teams are in Texas and Mexico. But what if we just started naming all the divisions after food? So like you'd have the Tex-Mex Division. You could have St. Louis in like the baby back ribs division. Los Angeles, I don't even know what they eat in LA.
The California roll division?
The California roll, yes. The Pizza Kitchen division.
Do we go crab cake division over there for the East Coast?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Largemouth bass division. If you got the Carolinas in there. I mean, I'm just spitballing here. Should I be writing this down?
Maybe we should start copywriting everything, because before long, all the SFL fans will start coming up with their own inventions, and somebody have a Cameron Irvine before anything. Lauren Prococo gets the next reception, and it'll bring up 4th down, as the Toros will likely go for it, and they will, in the I formation, needing to get to the 48-yard line to convert. Here with 30 seconds left to go in regulation, Curtis fires over the middle. It's caught and fumbled by the Dr. Prococo, and the Aztecs will recover. It's Ronnie Watson who falls on it, and the Aztecs now will officially, barring a challenge which wouldn't likely do much, will be the South Division champions in about 30 seconds.
So Arizona in the West Division, Arizona, Las Vegas, Denver, and Sioux Falls. I mean, I'm not familiar with what people eat in Arizona. That might be an Eddie Gage question. But that seems like a very cosmopolitan division in terms of grub.
And with one final kneel down, that's gonna do it. The Mexico City Aztecs are the South Division champions in season 17 of the Simulation Football League. A very hearty congratulations to everyone in Mexico City.
Yeah, tremendous win, tremendous effort, going on the road in your division, taking care of business. Well done.
And what a way to do it. Getting their 100th win and clinching the playoffs with the division crown. They do it on the road at last season's division champions, and they come out with a solid victory that was more likely than not one in that first quarter their first half where they came out with a 21-0 advantage.
And I think one of the stories of the game here is Matt Wilson, who, despite being sacked 6 times, had a situation where he was just able to continue throwing the ball, continue to feed Phoenix Jones, who got over 100 yards today. And this is just a resilient offense. Fort Worth came up with some turnovers. Matt Wilson intercepted twice, but they jumped out to an early lead. I mean, surely that made a big difference in terms of what they're trying to do. You go up 21-0. The game is almost in your hands, but Fort Worth had opportunities where they tried to fight back, and and Mexico City was able to keep them on the mat. That's a difficult thing to do, especially in this league, but also with football in general. And I'm just really impressed with this team that just seems to be firing on all cylinders right now as they approach the postseason.
Now move to 8-2, will the Aztecs, as Fort Worth gets closer and closer to being eliminated from the playoffs. They aren't officially out yet, but at 3-7, it looks mighty dire for them, as Phoenix Jones is your player of the game with 114 yards and 2 total touchdowns on the ground. An all-around solid performance for the Aztecs running back. I've been Tyler Falk. He's been Josh Circle, with Justin Raside and Dwayne Schindler on stats, and Cameron Irvine back at SFL headquarters. So long from Fort Worth, Texas. Thanks for joining us. You've been watching the SFL on Next Level Sports, presented by APM Music. And until next time, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back to the SFL studios with Mike St. Green. I'm Cameron Irvine, and Mexico City does it. They take care of business on the road, Mike, despite an early third quarter scare. They get a 28-10 win, and they take the South Division away from the Fort Worth Toros, who won it last season. Mexico City, your division champs, and they are in the playoffs.
Yes, Cam, congratulations goes out to the Mexico City Aztecs, as you mentioned, South Division champs, and also the 100th win in franchise history. And today was a great performance by them. But typical kind of Mexico City that we've come to know over the past couple of weeks. Just a solid performance. Nothing fancy. They just kind of grind it out with you and are extremely efficient. And we saw that a lot today against Fort Worth.
Now, elsewhere in the SFL, a wild game in Raleigh as Baltimore went up 20-0. Carolina came back, took the lead 21-20. Carolina now trails 21-30, although they have the ball in Baltimore territory. The Skyhawks have already beaten one previously undefeated team. That's division rival Queen City of Baltimore, and they're giving the Vultures all they can handle today.
Yeah, Cam, this game, it kind of about midway through the third kind of looked like this maybe was Carolina's game to lose, and then Baltimore has kind of come back and taken the lead. But yeah, Carolina, they were dominant from like the early in the second quarter on, and then Baltimore, I guess they showed their championship possible medal and flexed their muscles a little bit, and really and truly they turned this game around on the defensive side. Sirron Yates has come through with a couple sacks here in the fourth quarter. Al Lewis has a sack as well. Mac Chima's having a big day. He recorded his third touchdown of the day, and Baltimore's showing again why they're undefeated.
So looking at what this does for the playoff standings, that's going to take Mexico City to 8-2. They would go into second place. Now that's going to put the pressure on Florida in particular, since Florida has that head-to-head. But also too, we've got Carolina that we're monitoring. If they can get to 5-5, they're making a lot of 4-5 and 5-5 teams sweat down there. Their strength of victory is also better than any other team in the league right now at 583. And it would skyrocket if they beat Baltimore. It'd be even better.
Yeah, if they could beat Baltimore, it would definitely skyrocket and probably put them in very good position for going into the last couple of weeks of the season. But one thing about Carolina, as we watched this last quarter of the season, I feel like they have one of the toughest roads as far as opponents that they're going to face in the last couple of games. They have a big rivalry with Charleston next week, and Charleston's having a solid season, and then they finish up the season with Florida. So yeah, it's not going to be an easy road, but if they can happen to pull off one of those victories or a couple victories, they'll definitely be in great shape and looking at one of the wild card spots.
Now Carolina just scored. Logan Jack, a receiving touchdown. It's now 30-27 over there. Obviously this game is huge. Baltimore's the lone unbeaten team in the SFL right now. It doesn't mean as much to Baltimore as it does probably to Carolina, but it is worth pointing out, Mike, that if Queen City can take care of business this week, the Corsairs play the Vultures next week, and if Baltimore were to lose this game, Queen City could actually catch them in the division and take over first place.
Yeah, it's actually a game that we've had circled on our calendars pretty much all season long. Once it looked like these two teams are heading on this collision course, and man, it would be even more big if I could say that if Carolina can come back here in the last 4:28 and pull off the upset.
Now here's what's coming up next on Next Level Sports. We will keep you posted on Baltimore and Carolina, but a big game going out in Fort Lauderdale with the Pass Happy London Knights, and we want to make sure that you see all of that one. The 4-5 Knights taking on the 7-2 Florida Storm. Florida somewhat comfortably ahead in the Atlantic Division, but this is just a huge game. It's Pickler versus Mighty. Can Johnny Pickler continue the hot streak against one of the best defensive minds in the league?
As you mentioned, Cam, London Knights definitely pass happy. 60-plus pass attempts for Johnny Pickler in the last couple of games. He's thrown 10 touchdowns in those games. And in London, they definitely want to air it out. And as you mentioned, Mighty Max Paul, head coach and owner of the Florida Storm, they're definitely going to give them all that they can handle on the defensive side. He typically plays a bend don't break type style, so if London can avoid the big mistakes, they can pull one off down in Florida today.
Let's talk about Louisiana and Los Angeles. That's a game going on the SFL Twitch channel, and a game that's also huge for the playoffs. LA is 6-3 right now. There are 3 teams in the Pacific that are within one game, and they're tied with Vancouver for the division lead, and they actually play Vancouver next week. You can check that game out on Next Level Sports. But Louisiana 5-4. They're now just a game back of Atlanta, who plays later today. I mean, it's getting tight there, Mike.
Yeah, Cam, this is going to be a big game for both teams, and in particular Louisiana to try to keep pace with Atlanta. But Louisiana, they've been one of the hotter teams in the league over the past 6 weeks or so, and they've played great football over the course of that time. And the defense has really stepped up and made big plays. And Reggie Street, a running back for Louisiana, he hasn't had a huge game, but he's been solid over the last few weeks, and that's basically taken the pressure off the rookie quarterback Tommy Utah. And then in Louisiana, they've taken a big advantage of that. Los Angeles, they're going to want to pound the rock today as well with Robert Johnson, and they're going to play. It's going to be similar styles. Los Angeles has a great secondary over there and great defense, so we're gonna see 2 defensive teams battle it out and look to stay in the hopes of winning their specific divisions.
One last look at the playoff standings before we send it out to Florida for Florida and London. What catches your attention? Who do you feel like is maybe the least safe right now, Mike, out of this group of teams? Because we could easily see somebody fall out of it very quickly.
Yeah, the teams that are in that are pictured right now, I would say London. They're probably the least safe. They're still below 500, and they have a tough schedule to finish out the season as well. Obviously Florida today. Florida is 7-2 and firmly in the playoff spot. Next week they do have a game against DC. DC, pretty much on the outskirts right now, but finish up with an undefeated Baltimore team. So I would say, with the strength of schedule that they have left and the opponents that they have left right now, London is probably the least safe team that's currently in the playoff hunt.
How about Portland? Tyler Falk on Netma earlier this week, he called them frauds. 244 strength of victory. Would you go that far?
Portland, if you look at the strength of victory, you would say, well, man, have they, really beaten any quality teams? And you could possibly say that they haven't, but I think they're a solid team. I mean, the defense has been solid all season long. Of course, they have Ezekiel Love that leads the league in rushing. They have a rookie quarterback, O.J. Bruin, that's kind of struggled at times this season. But no, that's a solid team, over there. And I don't think that the strength of victory really reflects the quality of team that is.
All right, well, it's a lot of fun down the stretch here. London and Florida, a big game coming up next. Josh Zirkle, Aaron Alexander have the call. This has been Sim Football Postgame presented by APM Music, and we'll be right back for kickoff after this.